Greetings and welcome. So, you want to buy or sell a bike, scooter, motorcycle, maybe even a bicycle. There are a couple things that you should do to at least meet the bare minimum. And most of them have to do with safety. So, step number one, I wrote them down. Have a clean, ideally clean title that can prove to you that the owner is the person selling it. That's kind of important. Past that, yeah, have a key, at least one. That might be important, especially if there's luggage or other things that have a second key. You know, if you're buying a bike, just make sure it is the right equipment. Guys with multiple bikes, hey, you can get confused. So the first on the list of safety or bare minimum things, okay, tires. That's between you and the ground. That's what puts the power to the bike. First of all, if you're going to show up, if you're showing up to look at a motorcycle and you see a tire is flat or low or about to fall apart, yeah, you might want to think about partnering with somebody else as far as buying or selling. So these are in good condition. These are Pirelli Angel scooter tires. One thing I had to do was I had a persistent leak on the rear tire. So I did the right thing and dismounted it and took care of it. I just had to clean. There was some dirt in between the tire bead and the wheel. Put it back together. Works fine. It holds perfect now, so not an issue, but something I had to take care of. Especially if you're going to shoot for the average price range for the make, model, and mileage and year. So in addition to the wheels, you want to, well, actually the wheels too, if you see any dings, you can either take care of them or just factor that into the price. Your brakes, if you're going to buy a bike, first of all, you're going to need to test drive it. And if you're new, this might be new information. This is TCLOCS. And that's an acronym for a pre-ride check. You want to check these things frequently. And if your tires look jacked up, if your wheels look like they're falling apart, if the brakes don't work, you should find that out before you hit the road. And easy test, scooters are different because the left is the rear brake. But take the bike down, roll it manually with your legs or by hand, and test the brakes. Hey, they work. You're going to have a general idea that they're actually doing their job. If you hear a squeak or a rattle or something, if something seems off, take a look, fix it, or whatever. So next is controls. Check out the throttle even before you start it. Is it smooth? It comes back to the wheels a little bit, wheels and tires and brakes, but do the brakes feel smooth? The controls are important. Is the wheel facing the same direction the handlebars are? For some bikes, there's a stop. You can't really see it in here, but if it looks mushroomed, but you'll be able to tell if it's been in an accident. Because most people don't replace those. I should say, when that becomes an issue, typically that means the bike has been totaled. All right, next is lights and controls. That means when you turn the key, things should light up. You can test the lights. See? Things work. These are the LED running lights. Indicators. that tells you a couple things. That the switch actually works. When you hit the brake, you want that to light up. That also includes the battery. So in here, it's easy to get to-ish. So it's back behind this panel. And I even have a charge lead. But yeah, make sure the battery is in good condition. If you're going to buy a bike and it's a substantial investment, feel free to get in there and have a visual inspection. If you're really crazy, you can bring a voltmeter and make sure things are okay. But in addition to like electrical components, there's wiring. Can be a finicky thing with some of these bikes because, you know, we like this aftermarket exhaust. We like to modify stuff, add lights, add sound, whatever. And sometimes that means botching the electrical system. So check it out. Oil and fluids, you can check the oil level, and at the same time, you're checking to see the condition. If it's nice and amber, good to go. If it's dark, that might just mean it needs an oil change. But if it is like black, super black, then it's been neglected. So keep an eye out. Other fluids, you have coolant. This does actually have a little radiator down here, and behind it, it has a like a continuously spinning little plastic fan. You check it under here, so it's important to know the specifics for whatever bike you're looking at. Know how to access. On this bike, it is, you kind of have to like get on the ground a little bit, and yeah, it's hidden away. Brake fluid. So brake fluid is kind of weird. It doesn't look that dark by looking, like this is supposed to tell you the level, not necessarily the condition. So for me, when I change this, so it's summer 2024 right now, and the previous owner said, well, it's a 2015, but it started being like driven on the road in 2018. I'm pretty sure that has never been changed before, because it was black. Who knows how much water was in it? It's kind of difficult to check because, first of all, there's screws, and yeah, it's just a pain. Changing it is not a pain, but checking it. So when you buy a bike, I almost don't care about the condition because I'm going to change it. It costs like $4 and 20 minutes if it's your first time. If it's not, it's even faster. So yeah, it can be interesting learning some of those mechanical skills. The chassis, well, it's a little self-explanatory. I mean, you know, check out the swing arm. When you take it off the stand and you go to sit, and the suspension sits down, make sure there's no grinding or buckling or noises. If it's an older bike, sometimes there will be some noise. I had a bike, it was a bigger bike, where it was just part of the character and normal. So it kind of goes back to knowing what you're looking at. Another thing for chassis would be whatever drives the motorcycle, whether it be chain, this is CVT, belt, shaft drive, check them out. Or at least visual inspection for all this stuff, basically. For this bike, it has the air filter for the engine back here, and then the air filter for the CVT back here. So there's two filters. For these city scooters, they can get fouled up and dirty pretty quickly just because of, I guess, depending on where you live for the conditions, like if it's dusty, if you're in a big city, it might not be as bad, who knows. But just be aware like what's behind these panels. So next are the stands. Some bikes have two stands. You have the center stand. You know, I feel like if the stands are clean, that tells you a little bit about the owner. So it went down nice and easy. And for the most part, you know, it's only a 300-pound bike, but it goes up and down smooth. I don't see any wet puddles going back to the oils and fluids. You know, if anything is leaking, some of the stands or the wheel might be, it will collect road grime easier. The same way if your seals are going, they collect dirt. See that line right there? So some oil is getting passed. So that's the highest point that it's gotten, and the oil that sits there collects dirt. I have a good example on this bike. Because, you know, see that line? So, yeah, they don't stay clean on their own. But one interesting factoid about some of these scooters. It could be a newer battery. Or a newer battery would be a good thing. I do have a lithium battery, but it has a wonky design, it barely fits kind of thing. But when it does, when I did have it in, it starts up like right away. So, one thing to check, it's kind of a mixture of these things, but you have the engine idling right now, and it lets you do that with the center stand up. How about this one? Does that kill the engine? Some older bikes don't have that feature. I don't know when it became more standard, but that kind of, I don't know, I feel like that's a good thing. It could potentially save you from crashing. So if I try to go to start it again, it won't even try because that switch is broken, or the switch is not connected down there. But then when it does get connected, or not open, I should say, it cranks over. And when I go to sell this bike, I'll pop in the lithium battery so that it starts up a little bit easier. Well, more than a little bit. I take off the license plate when I go to sell a bike just because I don't want to, you know, you're not supposed to, I don't know, maybe your state is different and your personal preference, but I'm not going to let somebody have my license plate. First of all, there's a little bit of cost to getting a new one, but yeah, that's the bare minimum. Please don't be that guy that shows up. I mean, it's more for cars, but like just like full of soda cans and random stuff. You know, check out the interior of the motorcycle a little bit. But yeah, there we go. Quick review, have your documentation in order. Any original documents is a plus. Check out your tires and wheels. Make sure you can stop the bike. Make sure your controls are square and everything is functioning. The battery, lights, switches, indicators. Make sure those are good and present. Check the oil, coolant, brake fluid, which, you know, what can you say? The gas. If your bike does have a gauge for that, hopefully it's not stuck to the full position. But, you know, some older bikes don't even have fuel indicators. Let's see. So the chassis, make sure it's square. Sometimes you just have to ride it to make sure. and the stands, that they work, that the kill switch for the side stand works if it has it. That's about it. Thanks for watching, guys.